Hey everybody, this is Brian Boyle and welcome to episode 58 of The Mesh Tongue. It is Monday morning and boy, it's a snowy one here in Utah, so hopefully it's better where you are at, but anybody in Utah is probably either out in a sloppy one or on the treadmill today, so be careful out there. And hey, still February. That groundhog was right, 6 more weeks after that Groundhog Day shadow incident. But today I want to talk to you about the opposite of being overly hydrated. I talked to you yesterday about hydration and some different things, and you can refer back to that episode for ways to improve your training and getting hydration. But one of the downsides of overhydration is what's called hyponatremia. Hyponatremia is where the sodium is no longer actually working in the body because it's been diluted, or sweated out, and I'll talk to that in a second. But there's an issue with the sodium levels in the body. Now, where does this become important? This becomes important when we think about the research. Dr. Brian Kroback kind of did some studies on this with ultra runners and marathoners. Marathoners look at like about a 61% medical issue. So 61% of the time marathoners are in medical issues. Now, medical means some sort of cardiovascular, it means some sort of electrolyte imbalance, it means some sort of heat-related illness, altitude illness, that sort of thing. Less than, and the other thing not medical is more musculoskeletal, the skin disorders, those sorts of things that wouldn't necessarily fall into that. So marathoners see more medical issues. That's where you see all of the tents at the end of the finish line there. People are getting IVs or they're getting some sort of treatment. But the ultra runners are seeing more of the musculoskeletal things. So if you're an ultra runner, hey, great, you don't necessarily have as many medical issues, but the musculoskeletal, which can include ankle sprains, tendinitis, tendinopathies, IT band syndrome, dislocated shoulder from fall on something. But what about hyponatremia? And we talked about hyponatremia, and there's two different ways. One is dilution and one is depletion. So dilution is when you consume too much water that doesn't have an electrolyte substance in or that sodium, that would be able to contain the sodium balance in the body. The depletion model is through excessive sweat or urination. So say you're out on a real hot day, you're going for this long run. Maybe you've had inadequate intake, and so this is what we kind of talked about yesterday, was the making sure you're getting enough fluids in, or the inactivation of sodium that would basically be occurring through depletion. So if you ever get down with a long run, especially in parts of the South or parts of the East Coast of the United States where it's really, really humid, and you see this white ring on the outside of your shorts or your shirt, maybe you've got some crust on the side of your face. That's where I always would get it. I'd get it because the sweat would kind of run down the side of my face, so I'd kind of be crusty through here, maybe down the arms, but definitely on the shorts. That's when you know you're sweating out the salts and the sodium. So signs and symptoms of this, and this is one of the ways that you can tell them. All right, if you're like, I wonder if I got hyponatremia. Well, one of the signs is obviously you're more thirsty, so you've got an increase in thirst. But the excessive fatigue, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be that you get done and you're like, wow, that was a tough run. I mean, it's like one of those things where you've done that same run before and you weren't that awful. Now all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm just beat, like holy smokes. That's where you go, maybe this is a little hyponatremia. Temperature is elevated, so like your forehead is flush and hot, head's really hot, almost like that heat stroke kind of thing. You can't regulate your temperature at faster heart rate. So if you've got your Garmin or one of your your Fitbit or whatever you've got on, or Timex Indiglo always works out great. But we're talking about measuring heart rate. But if you're measuring your heart rate, even if you're just taking your pulse, okay, and you know that it's much higher than it normally would be, that can be a sign. You could have headache, dizziness, blurred vision, confusion. You might even see some with a seizure. These are all probably signs of something more serious medically, and looking at hyponatremia as an option for that medical diagnosis and differential diagnosis. Now, it's important not to give somebody excessive fluids. Okay, if you think so, if you're out and you've got a training partner and you're like, dude, you look like you've got XYZ, gosh, you're complaining of headache, blurred vision, it's important not to give these people fluids. That's really, really important. So don't have them guzzle, a bunch of water, or give them, give them a bunch of clear fluids. Make sure that if you're going to give them something, it's got some electrolyte in it. But you really want to restrict even that until somebody starts to urinate. Again, you want to make sure that they're resetting the balance, because that sodium output is regulated through the kidneys, and so if it's already been flushed, with excessive amounts of water, this is a medical emergency. So I'd call 911 if I were you. But there's some interesting signs and symptoms that you want to be watching for. Now, the question is, can salt tablets prevent this? That comes up an awful lot. So, well, I'll just take salt tablets and I can't prevent this. The downside of this is that the research to date, now this isn't necessarily something that you just throw out because of the fact, but don't rely on salt tablets alone. There's no research that actually shows that taking salt tablets kind of preemptively will actually delay or inhibit somebody from going into hyponatremia. So there's no research to date. So don't rely on just the fact that you're taking some salt tablets because it's going to be hot, that you're going to run into, or you're going to be immune from something like this. It doesn't always happen. Now, again, could you say, well, I'd rather take the salt tablets than not? Again, as long as you don't have any problems hypertension-wise, so high blood pressure issues, any sort of other issues that may preclude you from taking salt tablets, feel free to go ahead and do that. But again, the key with it is that don't think that just because you've taken salt tablets before the race or before a long run that you're going to be immune to this. Again, you can dilute this salt balance or deplete it even, even taking salt tablets before. So, hopefully you've got some value from this. If you've got questions, comments, again, I'm always happy to answer those. Send those to Brian, BRIAN, at company, 5k.com. Again, that's Brian at company5k.com. I'm loving it, man. You guys are sending me some fantastic questions, some fantastic comments. Keep those rolling in. If I can answer them quickly, I certainly will. Sometimes it may take a day or two to get back to you, depending on the question. I'm sending out some videos to folks, so be advised that it may take a little bit of time, but I'll definitely get back to you. But this is episode 58 of The Mesh Tongue, and don't forget to check out runpainless.com. You can share this with your friends, your family, your training partners, but whatever you do, and I always say this, don't go hurt yourself to come back. I'll see you again tomorrow for episode 59. Take care and have a great day.